Yes, hi everybody, and welcome along to the inner sanctum of the Sports Desk, I guess. This is where all the bookies hang out and we do all the pricing, etc. And I've brought with me for his weekly visit Jeetan Patel. On my left, Jeetan, we're not in the studio this time, you've come to where it all happens.
Yeah, it's a bit more exciting. There's a lot more numbers. Seems to be a big cash file here as well, so I'll try and get into that later.
Big cash file. Not so. We're going to talk about 4 games tonight. The first one is the New Zealand against the Zimbabweans. And Jeets, is this a game that we should be worried about?
No, we should beat them, mate. We should beat them. We're obviously ranked higher than them. We have had a poor run of form, but we were disappointing against Australia, but we just need to start playing our best 11, like I said last week. The only thing we should be worried about is the Zim spinners. They bowled 39 overs in the last game, and they've also got some batters that can be quite destructive. But, we should beat these guys any day of the week.
Well, there's some confidence from Jeetan. Next game I want to talk about was the Sri Lankans against the Australians. Now, Sri Lanka lost to Pakistan. Australia cleaned us up. But Sri Lanka at home, does that count for much?
It always does. Sri Lanka at home and in the subcontinent, full stop, are a great side. Malinga's come back and he's going to play against Kenya before this game, so he'll get some game time in and hopefully he'll be able to come out with firing for them. But obviously the Aussies are strong, but they just haven't really been tested all the way through. I think their quicks bowl well against New Zealand and have bowled well throughout the tournament, but again on slower wickets in Sri Lanka, they've got some batters who can stand up to that sort of pace. The Aussies have had the wood over the Sri Lankans for a long time now, but I just think in their own country, which they haven't played there haven't played there for a while, I just think they're a good chance of beating them.
Now, if I remember rightly, back in the first show, you said this was going to be the World Cup final. Is that right?
Yeah, I predicted this being the World Cup final. I thought Aussie would beat India in the semi and Sri Lanka, whoever they played, would go through. But they lost to Pakistan in the last game, which is a bit of an upset in my part. But I think they're a side that can go all the way.
Cool. Next game, England against South Africa. Now, this game has always got some extra spice. There's 4 or 5 expat South Africans in the English side. That must add to the atmosphere of this game.
It does. It adds to the excitement for both teams. Obviously, those that are playing in the England side are wanting to prove their point against South Africans, and those South Africans are wanting to prove the point of why did you leave us. But Straussi's come off 150, which was a great knock. And also Trott and Peterson are a great nick also. My concern is their not the lack of spin, but with only Graham Swan being their number 1 and Michael Yardley being their half-half spin, it doesn't really make sense to me. But South Africa are a great side, a great all-round side, and it probably put up a good fight.
Now, this is a really mouth-watering prospect, this game, and some people have criticised the format because you could argue that it doesn't matter too much this game. What do you say to that?
I still think it adds to the World Cup. What happens in the World Cup then leads on to other games in the series, and it may mean that if someone gets tipped up over here, then they may lose a little bit of confidence or start questioning themselves, and obviously in World Cup format that can be quite big.
Now, obviously we've got to get over Zimbabwe, and then our next game is against the Pakistanis. Obviously they were here all summer, so we've got used to them. Respective form, I mean, we've followed the New Zealand side. Jeets, Pakistanis are going all right?
Yeah, they are. They're also playing at a new ground in Palakkale, and we played a warm-up game there last time we were in Sri Lanka, so I'm not sure if the Pakistanis have been there, but it is quite a wee way out of Kandy, and it's a big drive. It's a lovely ground to play cricket at, but it is still a young ground, and I think with a young ground you get variations in the pitch that could help both teams.
What's our team looking like, mate? What's the selection doing?
I think they've got to start playing Mills and Oram. Mills is our best one-day bowler. Jake's proven that he can take wickets and score runs, so I think he's a big player in their team.
Jamie Howe, number 7. What's going on there?
Yeah, I think obviously they want a batting cover, but I mean, why wouldn't you take the extra bowling option with Jake being a batter also? It is a little bit strange. I think he's there as batting cover for the top order, not to bat at 7. I mean, you're really sticking a guy in who's got no chance of succeeding, really. He has to go in with 10 overs to go, or has to bat with 40 overs left. So the guy doesn't really have much chance to prove himself at 7.
So, providing we get across the Zimbabweans and put them away, hopefully by 100-odd runs, and get some confidence up, leading into this Pakistani match, where the New Zealanders' head's going to be at?
Well, they'll be thinking about the Afridi factor. That's the big one that every team is thinking about. They'll also be thinking that the Pakistanis are fearless against anyone they play. They just want to go out and play entertaining cricket. So that'll be big. My issue is when our spinners haven't taken 2 wickets. Now some people would say that I'm having a dig, but I'm not really. I just think again, the other teams around the world have taken a lot of wickets with their spinners, and we've taken naught. So we may have to step up there.
Why is that?
I don't know. I mean, maybe we are defending rather than attacking with our spin options, and usually in one-day cricket you can attack with the new ball, but in the subcontinent you probably can't.
Okay, and the batting, how's the batting looking to you from New Zealand's point of view?
It's up and down, and it has been for a long time. I think guys show glimpses of form and then get themselves out. We need to work out why we don't just bat 50 overs. Let's just bat 50 overs, get 240 and see where the game's at from there. That'll build confidence in itself, and I think if we can do that, the bowlers get a good rest and get excited about bowling against a side we've got 240 on the board.
So Jeetan, looking over the next few games over the coming week, what's a bit of a standout bet if you were to have one?
Well, I just think that only 4 teams can go through from Group B, and there's 5 that are possible. And Bangladesh West Indies is a big game. And that's on Friday night, and I think whoever wins that could possibly go through to the quarterfinals. West Indies may end up missing out, which would be a disappointment, I think, for the top 8 nations. But you know, Bangladesh are playing great cricket in their own country, and it must be exciting for them to have that opportunity to go through the quarterfinal.
You're loving Bangladesh, aren't you?
Well, I just think they've got niggly little cricketers and niggly little spinners and batters that come out and just play with heart and passion and love the game, and I think that'll get most teams over the line.
All right, might make some nice coin off Bangladesh too. Getting close to halfway through the tournament, it's probably time to have a look at the overall winner. We've seen the teams play a couple of serious games and a couple of semi-warm-up games within the tournament against the minnows, so let's have a look at the overall winner, and the Indians still favourite, Jeets. They've looked pretty impressive, including that draw the other night.
Yeah, they have, and again, it's their seamers that are my issue. You know, they can go for plenty at the top, and against strong batting lineups like the Australians, the South Africans, and even the Sri Lankans, you know, they could go for plenty, and that's what showed in the last game against England. They were lucky to claw it back with a bit of a reverse swing late, but I think India are a good side. I just wonder if they'll be able to get over the line in semi-finals if they get through.
The beauty of the tournament is that you're able to bet right through the tournament. You're allowed to change your mind on what you think the final will be, or are you going to stick with the Sri Lankans and Aussies?
Right now I'm going to stick with Aussie and Sri Lanka. I think that'll change. It could change come quarter-final time, but at the moment it's definitely Aussie Sri Lanka.
All right, Aussie Sri Lanka for Jeets, and I like Sri Lanka as well, but I don't know about the Aussies. I seem to be taking his advice that they need spinners and they haven't got them. So Jeets, we'll come back next week. We'll have a few more games under our belt, and hopefully New Zealand's gone 2 from 2. See you next week.